All right, let's take you to Johannesburg on Monday now, as we can see Minister Dean McPherson is now briefing the media. Let's listen in.
Good afternoon to everyone assembled here. Good afternoon, Premier of the Gauteng Province, Premier Lesufi, Deputy Mayor Masuku, and MMC Yunus. Let me also say that the chair of the Council for the Built Environment, Dr. Miyeza, the CEO of the Council for the Built Environment, Dr. Miyeza, is here as well. And I have come here after learning of the tragic news of what happened yesterday afternoon and the death of 9 individuals here on the site. I want to convey from the department and from national government our sincere condolences to all of those families who have suffered loss and grief in this tragic time. I also want to pay tribute to our brave rescue women and men who put their lives on the line to rescue those who had been trapped under the rubble, and I really do commend them that they always rush into these situations putting their safety second and the desire to save lives first. As we stand here today, we do so under tragic circumstances. I want to say that this incident is deeply distressing to myself and deeply distressing to all of us that are here this afternoon. Again, my thoughts and prayers are with the family of the deceased and all those that have been injured during this difficult time, and we pass on our best wishes, Premier and Deputy Mayor, to those that are recovering. No words will ever be able to capture the pain of losing a loved one in such a devastating manner, particularly those that are breadwinners and working every day just to be able to support their families. As government, we recognize that behind every statistic is a family. There are families whose fathers are not coming home today. And that should move us. It should move us not only in the pain, but also to do something about this. As the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, I want to extend our full support to the Province of Gauteng Premier and to the City of Johannesburg Deputy Mayor, to all of those services that have contributed to the rescue efforts. We are grateful for the tireless efforts of all agencies on site who have worked under high-risk conditions. Today we are also joined by the Council for the Built Environment and the City of Johannesburg's emergency services and officials from my department and others. The purpose of being here today is to gain an initial understanding of what the circumstances were that surrounded the collapse and to ensure that all relevant regulatory processes are triggered without delay. At this stage, our focus firmly remains on supporting family members. It would be premature and irresponsible to speculate on the causes of the collapse or the next steps while those are still grieving. There will be a time, Premier and Deputy Mayor, for a thorough investigation and accountability once all of the facts have been established. However, it must also be said that this is now the 3rd building collapse in a number of months. Each incident carries its own specific circumstances, but together, cumulatively speaking, we must understand what is behind these collapses and what more can we do as government. We must confront whether there are systematic conditions that are allowing these tragedies to take place in the first place. I think that this demands now of us as national government, Premier and Deputy Mayor, a crisis response. I did briefly interact with the President last night, and you will have seen that he issued a statement and he shares his concern, of course, about what is going on here. While the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure is the custodian of the built environment at a national level, this incident has again exposed a fundamental challenge in how the built environment is regulated in South Africa. Responsibility for different aspects of building control workplace safety, professional regulation and enforcement is spread across multiple departments and across different spheres of government, and this makes it incredibly complex. When these systems do not operate in a fully coordinated manner, gaps emerge in oversight, compliance and accountability, particularly where unlawful construction occurs or where buildings are occupied without approval. With that being said, I want to call on the company that constructed this building, New Order INV, to come forward and to take accountability for what has gone on here, or if any member of the public knows where the owner of this company is, to immediately contact the SAPS or local law enforcement. Preliminary observations and past reports have pointed to a troubling pattern of serious structural collapses within metro areas over the last decade. That pattern reinforces the need to examine whether systematic and governance weaknesses may be contributing to continued loss of life. This is not a matter that can be addressed by any single department or any sphere of government alone. It is an issue that will require cabinet-level consideration, informed by the outcomes of this investigation and those that are still continuing into George and the Durban temple collapse, to determine whether stronger coordination mechanisms, clearer lines of responsibility or regulatory reform are required. As the national government, we have a responsibility to ensure that regulation of the built environment places public safety first. I want to underscore this point. We must ensure that the safety of those on site and those that use buildings always come first. The lessons drawn from this tragedy, Premier and Deputy Mayor and MMC, must lead to meaningful improvements in how we prevent, detect and respond to unlawful or unsafe construction. We must also give the public an opportunity to report illegal buildings. It was very clear this building should never have been built so close to an Eskom pylon like this. But today, and in the days immediately ahead, our priority remains the people affected. We will consult widely with all relevant stakeholders as part of determining an appropriate way forward once those families have been able to grieve. For now, we ask the public to please allow investigators to do their work, not to speculate, and of course for the patience that is required in an investigation like this. I think, Premier and Deputy Mayor, our primary concern is obviously for the families, but for the owner of this company to come forward. We just want to understand what went on. That is all we are asking, is to be able to question and understand what went on. Above all, again, we extend our deepest condolences to the family, and I want to thank again all of our brave women and men who were here to rescue those who were critically injured. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Premier.
Thanks. I addressed them earlier, so
okay.
So if
Thank
there are
you
questions,
very much, colleagues. I think everything is clear, and unless if there's any Q&A, you guys are covered. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The question is, who owns the land?
It's also owned by the company New Order INV. It's owned by them. So how they acquired the land, probably city manager is going to have to be looked at as well.
City manager being the Joburg city manager.
Reported about the buildings around here in terms of who owns them, whether they have...
All right, live visuals there from Ormonde in Johannesburg. Minister of Public Works, Dean McPherson, firstly extending his condolences to the families of the deceased. The death toll now standing at 9 individuals who have lost their lives in that incident. Minister McPherson expressing also their support to both the municipality. We've seen their Deputy Mayor Loyiso Masuku is present, as well as Premier Panyaza Lesufi representing provincial government, saying with all investigations they will be supporting these two spheres of government. McPherson also noting that this is the third building collapse not too far apart. We'd remember that in December there was one incident also in Gauteng, but another also of a temple collapse. Now, He says that in as much as Public Works is the custodian of the built environment, there are elements outside of their purview. McPherson stating that regulation in the built environment is quite problematic, which is an issue that will possibly require a cabinet-level consideration to determine if stronger coordination is what is needed or perhaps regulation overhaul. So these will be the questions now, at least the conversation that must be had at a higher level, just beyond these spheres of government being municipal level as well as provincial. The minister also going on to call on New Order IMV, that is the company, to come forward. Let's listen in as he continues to interact with the media.
The building, that is very clear. If it is not, then the city will do so itself. I think that the city manager and deputy mayor will also consider the other buildings that are around here that are being constructed and whether indeed they also meet the required standards. But I think the city has to obviously provide those answers. Obviously their focus has been on rescue efforts. Those have now come to a conclusion, and I'm sure that they will shift those efforts. We, of course, will do everything that we can to support you, Deputy Mayor, and the city and the province Premier. You know, we have, unfortunately, some experience in this now. We're currently leading the investigation into the Verulam collapse that took place. And so, you know, we will play a supportive role. But our role really now is to expedite the cabinet discussion around the fragmented building environment. Because if there's a holistic point of view around the building environment, we can greatly lessen tragedies like this. So we're going to move with speed now to take that report to cabinet. I do have a meeting with both the Minister of Human Settlements and the Minister of Labour to conceptualise this issue so that there is a unified position taken to government. I'm going to see if I can speed up that date now as well, because we don't want to put anyone else at risk. But I can assure you this is a very serious issue. And as I've said, colleagues and Premier and Deputy Mayor, buildings are not designed to collapse. No one ever expects people to die in constructing buildings. They're supposed to be monuments to excellence. This is a monument to tragedy now. And we do not want that playing out any further across this country.
Minister Naomi Colby from ENCA, you've spoken extensively about, the fact that building regulations were simply not followed. You had 15 inspectors on the ground, as the city manager put it. Will investigations be taking place into how exactly this got past city inspectors?
Well, I think that the work that we will do through the CBE, we will obviously pose questions to the city and try and get to the bottom of it. You know, we need to understand how the city's regulatory processes themselves work in terms of enforcement, in terms of approval. But I think what we are seeing, I think there's a commonality that is now emerging, that building inspectorates and planning departments in metros are not as resourced as they should be. And that was evident from the eThekwini collapse. We are not here to pass judgment. We are here to try and assist so that these tragedies don't happen again. But we will be making our points and views known to the city. We will be engaging with them in a way that is constructive so that we can help and support them as the custodians of the built environment.
Okay, thank you, colleagues.
You have mentioned that, well, might not mention, but there has been reports that the city is facing a massive backlog when it comes to actually approving plans for housing and for businesses like this. Business people have come to us and told us that they cannot be able to go forward with building because of the fact that they cannot get those approvals back to them for months and for years. What is the city doing about this type of backlog, and how is it actually assisting in a situation like this where they are seeing that maybe going around it and to actually build is to avoid that backlog itself?
In this particular instance, there was no application. I think it's important to amplify that point. There was no request by the builder to actually even put up plans. But we do accept that we've had challenges, but now we're digitizing our plans in terms of approvals. The MMC for planning, together with her team, brought through a report to the mayoral committee to expedite how we approve our plans and make sure that since we have moved from the Metro Center building, which had been closed down, we then now work on digitizing so that we fast track our planning approval plans.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There you have it.
All right, and that officially concludes the minister's, at least, engagement with the media. We believe at this point now, as you see there, the yellow tape, they'll probably go into the building and just assess further and try to ascertain what possibly happened. Of course, an investigation will be quite lengthy into establishing the exact facts of what has taken place here. But nevertheless, the walkabout there with the Minister of Public Works, also emphasizing there, Dean McPherson, that they intend to expedite the conversation at cabinet level around fragmentation in the built environment, something that they've continuously raised concerns around. The minister saying they'll also engage the city and seek clarity around the building inspectorate, whether they're adequately equipped or resourced to ensure there's compliance across the board, because many buildings are coming up, but whether there are enough consultants to go there and ensure that there is compliance becomes the next conversation following a number of building collapses that we have also reported on. But we'll leave it there for now. Our reporter Tato Letsabo is on the story and will possibly give us a comprehensive wrap at the end of the minister's walkabout.